So typically when you see people struggle, when I've seen people struggle in my 22 years of doing this, it usually comes down to, like Andy and Albright and I talk about all the time, um, the reason why your business doesn't rock is because of lack of leadership and lack of focus. The reason why your business rocks is because leadership and focus, right? Leadership and focus. And that's usually the issue, leadership and focus. And so leadership begins with you. Leadership begins with you, leading yourself. If you can't lead yourself, how can you lead other people? The most important person to lead is yourself through all the junk that you have in your life that you're going through, right? So leadership and focus. Let's kind of break those things down and talk about that, because, you know, if you guys have leadership and focus, then you'd be on the leaderboard at some level, right? So let's go into it. Oh, good. Thought we were going to get the dark screen of nothingness there. Okay, so okay. So let's talk purely from personal production standpoint, leadership and focus. So where does leadership begin? It begins with you, okay? So number one, you got to take personal responsibility. Okay, I spelled that right. For yourself, okay? The buck stops here, right? Nothing happens until you take responsibility for everything that happens to you. You know, you can go into a woe is me mindset and say, and think everything's happening to me. Okay, it's not what happens to you. It's what you do about what happens to you that makes all the difference in the world. And the beautiful thing about it is what you decide to do about what happens to you is within your own control, right? It's the circle, right? You have control over you. You don't have control over all these other things like the economy and the government and all this stuff. You don't have control over all the outside stuff. Thank God that God gave you a free will to control what you do about all those things that happen at you. And you can be going through cancer, like my buddy Anthony. You can be going through, you know, loss of loved ones, loss of family members, because they're no longer in your immediate control to raise them. You could be going through, you know, we all are grieving something in some way, shape, or form. We all could be grieving how it used to be. Gosh, you know, my life's different now. It was so much better when it was, then you fill in the blank, right? And then you're in the situation today thinking, man, I wish for those better times. Well, you know, this ain't back to the future. You cannot go back into the past. All you have is today and what you do today to change what happens tomorrow. So everything that happens in the past is the past. What counts is what you do today. You're a new person today. Every time you wake up, you're a new person with new challenges. You might be in the same circumstances yesterday, but what you do about that circumstance will change where that is tomorrow. And we're not talking major changes. Nothing ever happens in a major way, like winning the lottery. Everything happens incrementally, and that's how you bank on something happening for sure, is the incremental improvement in what happens in your life and moving forward in your life is where the compounding happens. All the good stuff happens. This is where, you know, everyone thinks you're overnight success, but nothing happened overnight. It happened every day that you woke up and did something towards what it is that you're focused on, what it is you want to control in yourself. So responsibility, taking responsibility, okay? So you have to decide that the reason why I'm here is because of me. Once you get that down, oh my gosh, we have you're in the right place, man. You're totally in the right place to make stuff happen in your life, right? Because you've decided that if it's going to be, it's up to me, right? If it's going to be, it's up to me, right? I'm not waiting on anybody. I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to lead my way out of the situation that I'm in, okay? And so now you have to decide, who am I going to listen to, right? Who's going to mentor me? Who's going to guide me? Right? Because you can't do it on your own. You can't do it by yourself, right? Success always involves other people. Okay, it involves input from other people to help you navigate waters that you are blind in, right? People that have already been down the road that can help you make the right decisions. And that's really all we're talking about, isn't it? Making 51% of the right decisions. Okay, Andy Albright always said, dude, if I can just make 51% of the right decisions, I'm winning. I am winning, right? I'm winning. It's like baseball, right? If you're winning more than you're losing, you're making more of the right decisions, you are on your way. So who are you listening to? Where are you getting your mentorship from? Are they where you want to be in life, right? And so I don't have to look further than number one, okay, the first person I listen to is God, right? What God wants me to do, his will is ultimately what my will ought to be. And you know, one thing about God is that his dream for you is not a dream of poverty and despair. Like if you believe in the God that I believe in, you're a kid of a king, man. You are participating in the fruits of a kingdom that is here on earth if you choose to believe it, right? Your faith has saved you. How many times in the Bible that he said your faith has saved you? Like just recently in the gospel, we had the woman who was suffering 20 years of hemorrhaging, right? And she just believed, man, if I could just touch his garment, if I could touch his garment, he will heal me. Jesus will heal me. If I could just, and so he's walking through the crowd. She grabs his garment and Jesus felt the power go out of him to heal her. He's going, who touched me? And she's cowering thinking, oh my gosh, he felt that. And he turns to her and says, your faith has saved you. You have been healed. She's been healed, right? And it's purely because of her belief. Now, what's the counter? The counter to that is, prophet doesn't have honor in his own land. And he's in Nazareth, right, where he grew up. And because of their lack of faith, he could only heal a few people, right? Because that familiarity breeds contempt, right? So the only way you know will is through prayer. I would just urge you, okay, where's your prayer life? Because the only way that God talks to you, he talks to you in stillness, right, and quietness, and he talks to you through other people. And your way to discern how he talks to you through other people is through prayer. It's that part, right? Because he's talking to you all the time. So how can you have a relationship if you're not praying? And so I would ask you to evaluate how much are you focusing on proper prayer, okay? Communing, talking to God, man. He talks to you. Talk to him. It doesn't have to be formal prayer. There's like 5 types of prayer. I'm not going to go into the 5 types of prayer right now. But are you in prayer to discern his will? So to me, I think you need to be, next is, who is in life where you want to be, okay? And this takes all kinds of categories, right? For example, who do you admire spiritually? Like they got their act together. You see this sense of joy and peace in them. What are they doing? Find out what they're doing. Find out how much time they spend in prayer. What are they doing to pray? What are they doing to, and you know who I'm talking about. It's the people that you encounter. They don't necessarily have to be in church, right? People you encounter just have this piece of Christ in them. You can sense that the Holy Spirit is, find out what they're doing. If you want to be a better parent, who do you go to? People that you perceive are really great parents. And the fruit of their parenting is in their children. Are their children just seem to be thriving? There must have been something they did. If you want to be a better parent, hang around the good parents, right? If you want to be financially stable and financially fruitful in your chosen profession, which is this business, which I think sometimes God chose you, right, to get into this for whatever reason. I think it goes both ways, right? You choose it. Maybe God made this way open for you to get into this business. Then who in this business is successful, that is doing it right, that you want to emulate? Because God is no respecter of persons, right? So that means you can do what everyone else is doing that is successful if you duplicate what they're doing. And it's not always what they're doing, it's how they think about what they're doing, duplicating their thought process behind the things that they do, right? You can't read their mind, but what you can do is watch their actions. The only way you can find out what they're thinking is if you come to a function like family reunion, right, coming up, and get in their heads and ask them, tell me what you were thinking when you were making those phone dials. See, because how they're thinking about what they're doing is as important to duplication as actually duplicating their actions, right? If you're dialing the phone without the proper attitude and mindset, then you're not going to be as successful as someone that's dialing the phone with the proper attitude and mindset. And that's why you get around people. You have to get around people, right? And the ways that we do it, okay? So spiritually, business, it's called association. How do we associate? Well, obviously all the Zoom calls that the Alliance does, if you're not on them, you're missing out on catching the thought process of the people that are successful, whether they're building the business or producing. We have a number of opportunities to catch these top people. There's the President's Club calls they make available for you to listen to people dialing the phone, listen to people talk about edification like Noel Leventovich did last week. All these great opportunities to associate, right? We have the Wednesday call on Wednesdays, right, at 12:30 p.m. Eastern to get on and see the leaderboards, hear all the names of the top people. And then Andy goes into teaching because he's the ultimate, right? The ultimate success story of people that we can follow is how's Andy thinking about stuff? What is he doing? How is he getting these people to produce? What are the producers doing, right? We also have the Thursday sales call for our group at 11 a.m. and then the product training call at 1 p.m. where Gina Hawks will talk about the products that all the top people are using to produce, right? And then we have the Friday activity call. To me, that's the ultimate in association because Andy talks to all the top producers, whether it's a 19-year-old, 20-year-old like Emily Katz, or other people that are killing in the business that you can relate to. Okay, we have all the Zoom calls, all the training. We have the function come up, family reunion. It is the best, the only time of year that you have an opportunity to get in a large environment with all the top producers. Because if you go to a boot camp or regional event, you're only going to get so many people, and you should go to those too. But you don't have the opportunity to have the whole plethora of the top agents at your disposal, be able to eat with them, hang out with them, listen to them, ask them questions. We're talking the whole lineup of all the top producers in the nation. Family reunion in July, end of July, usually in the month of July, and then national conference in January. There's only 2 times a year we have this opportunity where you can get around the top people. Man, I'm big on association. To be in life where I want to be, I need to be around people that are in life that I want to be, right? They're already there. I want to know how to get there. So association, that's how you get around learning how to think like the top people think. Well, Alex, I can't go. Why? What is preventing you? What is holding you back? Because I promise you, a lot of the excuses you think the reason why you can't go is in your own head. Well, I don't have enough money. How much time do we have until the end of July? We've got, what, coming up a month. I think that we can help you produce enough money to be able to get there. You can drive there. You can share a ride. You can share a room with somebody. You can make the cost very minimal. You can sell stuff on eBay. Man, I remember back in the day, I used to sell all my guitars and my amps and everything that I could sell to get enough money to go to functions. Now, and then I became successful enough where I bought all that stuff back. I mean, isn't that ridiculous? You know, but it's the stuff that I was willing to give up today in order to have what I needed tomorrow. I need to invest in myself. This is what we're talking about. And gang, if you can't invest in you, if you can't bet on you, who are you going to bet on? The lottery? Are you going to bet on a racehorse? Are you going to bet on crypto? Man, you are your best bet as long as you go out and do something with the knowledge that you learn, right? So who are you listening to? That's why I ask you, man, who are you listening to? We've got all these opportunities to associate. So you still can come to the function. I think the ticket now is $3.99 instead of $2.79. It's okay. You missed the deadline for the deal. That's all right. It's still worth it. At $3.99, it's still worth it. You know what I'm talking about? So who are you listening to? You got to be careful where you get your information, right? The other way to associate is through books. There are so many books that you can read, and we have a whole bunch of the book list in, come on, man. I just give these away. And Andy's, The 8 Steps to Success. Here it is. It's an older one. 8 Steps to Success. This is an older one, okay? But still, there's a book reading list because we talk about list of book recommendations. Read and Grow Rich, Think and Grow Rich, How I Raised Myself from Failure to Success in Selling, Acres of Diamonds, The Go-Getter, The Greatest Salesman in the World, 31 Indispensable Qualities of a Leader, Oh, the Places You Will Go. Yes, Dr. Seuss. You need to read that. See at the top, Zig Ziglar, The Greatest Miracle in the World, Og Mandino, Power of Positive Thinking, Norman Vincent Peale, The Go-Giver, Bob Burg, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, Dale Carnegie. It's the first set of books, and then second wave. This is how you change your life through book reading. Book reading is one of the most important things that you can do to change. So who are you listening to? The self-evaluation, man. In order to get yourself to lead yourself, you need to listen to the right people, listen to the right things, take responsibility for yourself, right? And then let's focus on what you want, okay? Let's talk about focus. Man, I'm just coming up with this. I don't have an outline. It would be like my son asked me, Daddy, I'm just struggling right now. What do I need to do? So this is like, man, yes, I am a college graduate. My opinion, okay, focus starts with why. Why are you doing this? And it comes down to our coin, right? What do I want? What do I do to get it? Okay. You got to figure this out, and then you got to get around the right people to give you the game plan. You have to focus. Spraying does not work. Laser, we talk about focus, laser focus, right? What is the qualities of a laser? Laser is different than a light, like a regular flashlight. What a flashlight does is it starts with the light source, and then the source sprays. Okay, that's why when you turn on a flashlight in your dark room, it kind of sprays all over the room, and then there's a focus that you can focus the flashlight, those big, large, beat somebody over the head flashlights, that's got like 12 batteries in it. You can kind of turn the focus lens to try to focus, but it still sprays, as opposed to a laser. So a regular light is incoherent. A laser is coherent light, and the quality of the laser, it's directional, and it can be focused without spraying. And that's what we're talking about. Your focus is like getting rid of all the trash out there and bringing it into laser focus into what it is you want to accomplish, right? Laser focus, getting rid of all the junk around you, okay? So you got to know what it is you want. If you are unclear about that, because it's not just, yeah, I want to make money, right? Everyone wants to make money. Okay, the only problem is, it's like when you pray in general, but you don't pray specifically, because you know that God answers specific prayer. He totally answers specific prayer, okay? It's not sometimes the way you want. It's not the answer you're looking for, but man, the more specificity, then he has a chance to work specific miracles in your life, right? Everyone wants to make money, but what kind of money are we talking about? You can make money doing anything. You can even collect unemployment. That's like making money, right? What kind of money you want to make? How much do you want to make? And really the key is, why do I want to make it? What is this money going to do for me? Because money is only cloth, right? It's not exactly paper. It's really cloth. It's just a piece of cloth. But what will that money do for you? And I always talk about the why that makes you cry. I'm trying to cram a whole bunch in here. The why that makes you cry, man. What makes you emotional when you think about it? What is that thing that you'd be having the most suckiest day in the world, but when you think about the why that makes you cry, you just get up and you just persevere. You get through the crap, right? You get through the junk because you want this so bad that it hurts. You want it more than anything. It's like the analogy, right, of the man who he goes up to the old man and says, I really desire this thing, and you are the guru, the wise one. And the wise man tells this kid, follow me out to the sea. And say, walk out into the ocean on a beach. And he says, come here. And the kid's going, well, okay. What he does is he dunks the kid's head in water. And the kid's thinking, oh, this is okay. It's going to be fun, I guess. And he holds him down. The kid starts to run out of oxygen. He's struggling, and then he starts fighting to get out of the water. The old man's holding down just a little bit longer, and then he lets him up, and the kid's breathing for air and is mad, going, why did you do that to me? Are you trying to kill me? He goes, when you want what it is you seek as badly as you needed air to breathe, that's when you will have discovered the secret to success. How bad do you want it? What is it that makes you emotional? Is it your children? Is it getting your wife in a position where she doesn't have to work anymore, right? Is it being in a position of being totally out of debt where you can just relax and breathe for once? Is it you just want to get out of your job so bad because your job is killing you, it's stifling you, it's preventing you from becoming everything you could be that God could put into you, right? What is holding you back? What is that thing that you want as bad as breathing? When you figure that out, then we got a game plan for you. Because unless you get that thing that you want bad enough. Now, here's the thing about that. You can't wait for those choirs of angels to sing what this is to you, where you like, oh, I got it, Alex. Because it's a progressive realization sometimes of that. You just have to start get moving towards what that is for you. So you don't have to wait until that divine revelation. Okay, but you just have to have confidence that what we're doing in our business is teaching you how to get there. Okay, and then when that first struggle comes up, this is why you call me, man. I don't know how to get through this. Hey, there's a solution to everything, baby. I'll tap on everything that Andy Albright's taught me, and if I can't figure it out, I'll get you to Andy, and he can figure it out, right? Because we want to help you. So you gotta know why you're doing it. Okay. What else you got to focus on? What is the next thing? Once you got your why, you got to continue to develop your attitude, and you got to continue to take action. It's not one before the other, it's both and. You got to do this. You got to control your attitude, and you got to take action, right? And nothing less than a positive attitude. Anything less than positive attitude will deter you, will hurt you, will impede you from getting to where you want to go. And I don't have to tell you this because you already know it, right? Every little negatory person that watching the news, all this negative stuff. You know what? If you never watch the news, you will know that a building collapsed in Florida and killed probably over 100 people. They can't even find the bodies yet. They're still going through the rubble. Negative stuff, you're going to hear about it. I don't want to seek it. I want to focus on the positives of what I'm doing to change my life. And when you start letting negative in, man, negative family, negative comments, negative crap on Facebook, negative people that put you down, anything negative hurts you. You wake up every morning with a gas tank, and I call it the gas tank of handling negative. And every little negative thing eats away at the gas tank. So you start losing your stamina to do the positive things, the action to change your life. Every little negative thing just starts using up that fuel, right? Using up that fuel, using up all that positive energy that you got from all the positive people speaking life into you, right? All that negative, just, you got to avoid it, man. You have an eye gate and an ear gate, and everything that comes into you is in your control. So control what goes into you. The only way that you can combat the negative that you've already encountered is by dousing with positive. Okay, so here's a great analogy for that. You take a glass of water, okay, and we've actually done this years ago. Line up a group of 10 people, okay? Everyone has a glass of clear water, okay, that's half full, okay, from person 1 to person 10. So person 1, you put some food dye and dye it red. So you just dip a few drops and the whole thing's like pure red. And so what that person does is to the person next to him, he pours his glass or her glass into the next person so their glass is full. But that was already half full of water. So what do you think the dye is going to do? It's going to get diluted, right? The second person pours in the person next to him. That person, by the time you get to number 10, that glass is almost clear of all the red dye. There might be just a little bit, but every person you see starting from person 1 to number 10, progressively, it's lighter, progressively lighter. See, because the negative that you've encountered in your entire life, you can never get rid of. It's inside in your subconscious. The only way to overcome that is to douse it with positive stuff, positive people, positive stuff on your podcasts, positive stuff in your car, where you're listening to Alliance stuff off the Alliance Media app, right? Or you got a Zoom call plugged in, or you got a positive tape or a positive book playing, right? You're dousing the negative and you're overcoming with positive, because you can't get rid of it. You can only dilute it, right? And that's why it's important to control your eye gate and your ear gate, because that's what God gave you to take input in, okay? So the more you douse it with positive, the better person you will be. And that's why everything that we have to do, we have to think, is we got to surround ourselves with positive. I recently, as you guys know, I went up to Mansfield, I hung out, and I was in this general agent. This guy's amazing. I go into his training room. Every space in his training room, and it's a big training room, you could put 50 people in there, has positive sayings in every inch of the wall. He's got posters, he's got stuff he's printed out. You look everywhere and it's got every positive thing, quotes and speeches done by, you know, like Abraham Lincoln, all these things. And I've sent stuff out on Slack. I took some pictures. Those pictures I caught from his training room. I'm going, man, how can you not be positive when you walk into a room like this, right? And so the analogy is, what is in your brain? If I walked into the room of your brain, would I see it plastered with posters of positive comments? Or would I see so much negative, right, that if I'm a piece of film, I develop, right? Like, it's so dark in there. Okay, that's an old analogy, right? Some of y'all know how you used to develop film in a dark room. If I walk into your brain, what am I going to see? I'm going to see positive sayings plastered. I'm going to see negative stuff. It is what you decide to wallpaper your brain with, right, is a positive. Because the only thing that works in this business and in anything in life is putting yourself in a positive frame of mind by hanging around positive people and not letting the negative stuff from the enemy creep in, right? Now, when it comes to action, what are the actions? What do we do? What is the game plan? Well, if you are producing, right, the formula is leads, right, plus phone calls to get a hold of them, or door knocks, equals appointments, which equals closes, which equals income, which gets you to your why. It's not a hard formula, right? It's a very simple business. What are you dialing right now? Are you dialing, and are you dialing plentiful? Are you booking the number of appointments to get the premium that you need to submit in order to get the income to help make your why happen? If you're wondering right now, I don't have any leads, Alex, then brother, sister, you are out of business. You are out of business. Your doors to your insurance business is closed. It's closed. You aren't producing nothing because you don't have anything to call or anyone to call. Well, Alex, I can't afford leads. I didn't talk about buying leads. You've got a warm market of people that you know. Alex, I didn't get in here to call my warm market. Well, then tell me why you got in. I don't care how you get a hold of sales. It doesn't matter to me, right? I didn't say that because if you don't want to go through your warm market like all the other traditional life insurance agents have done, and then tell me, what leads are you running? What leads are you investing in? We've got old leads that are cheap, like free. Are you dialing out? Well, I have to work so hard to get so much negative off it. You either have time or money. You know what I'm saying? You either have time or money. You either invest in fresh leads, or you just run the older leads until you can start getting enough money on commissions, and you're gonna have to pound the snot out of the phone. No one ever said this is gonna be easy, right? Nothing worth anything is ever gonna be easy. Well, I want it the easy way. Well, then you came to the wrong place. In fact, you came to the wrong life. You came to the wrong universe, because in this universe, nothing worth anything is going to be easy. You're going to encounter obstacles in everything that you do. The question is there someone guiding you to get through those obstacles? There are ways to get over the obstacle of investment and leads. Okay, but you got to be willing to invest or do something in order to dial, because you can't dial on nothing. Do you see how simple this is? Not very hard. Super old leads. Fernando is doing it on super old leads. He hasn't got to the really good 150 leads he has. He's working it out. He's working his rap out. He's working his script out. He's working, getting quotes and how to do applications. That's why I love Fernando, man. He's on track. See, but he's taking action. He's taking action. You can't steer a parked car. You cannot steer a parked car. I can steer anybody who's in motion. Attitude and action, man. That's the formula. Why are you doing this? The game plan. You got to control your attitude. You always got to worry. This is a daily thing, man. It's like working out my salvation with fear and trembling. Man, St. Paul, it's like people conveniently forget about that. The health and wealth gospel. Well, if something's bad happening in your life, then there's something wrong with your spiritual life. Oh my gosh. You're going to listen to that crap? That is just a bunch of crap in my humble but accurate opinion. Man, God put us in this world. The people that screwed all that up was Adam and Eve. You know what I'm saying? Adam and Eve screwed it up. So now we have to work. If you don't work, you don't eat. So now we got to work. And we have to work out our salvation with fear and trembling. It's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. We have to persevere and fight for everything that we need in this world. But it's not worth it if you aren't fighting. You know what I'm saying? No pain, no gain. No pain, no gain, baby. It's what it's about. So do you want to suffer alone, or do you want to suffer around a group of people that care about you, that will pick you up when you're down, and that you can encourage when you are rocking, overcoming what it is you're overcoming? Because we all are broken in some way. We're all sinners, right? So let's just kind of baseline that fact that we all are sinners. We're all forgiven, but we have to overcome and persevere this life in order to make it happen, right? Attitude and action, attitude and action, attitude and action. So kind of the frosting on this cake, okay? Like I said, it's very simple. What did I say? I didn't say anything too groundbreaking. It's all in the books that we've ever read about success, isn't it? Right? But it's focus, laser focus. You spray, you're not going to get anywhere. You got to know what you're doing every morning. If you don't know what you're doing every morning, you are out of business, man. So you got to get to the point of knowing what it is you're trying to accomplish every day you wake up. So here are the 10 commandments after the 10 commandments. So you got your first set of 10 commandments that you live your life by, that Moses came down from the mountain. Kind of looked like Charlton Heston. Just kidding. So man, check this out. First commandment, thou shalt not worry, for worry is the most unproductive of all human activities. Oh my gosh. If we could just have you cut out half the worry in your life right now, you will be so productive. Like that book, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. Man, let's start living. Think about cutting all that out. But Alex, it's on my mind all the time. Well, we've got to control what's on your mind and change what you're thinking about to thinking about things that will get you further ahead, not stuff that will pull you back into the past, or things that you worry about in the future that will probably never happen, right? The second commandment, thou shalt not be fearful, for the most of the things we fear never come to pass. Fear and worry, right? What is it, 500 times, right, Scott, in the Bible, do not be afraid. fear not. How many times is that said in the Bible? Fear not. Right? Worrying, fear. Second commandment, thou shalt not be fearful. Third one, thou shalt not cross bridges before you come to them, for no one yet has succeeded in accomplishing this. Thou shalt not cross bridges. If you start formulating all these plans of all the worry that you have in your life, man, these are all correlated. You can kind of see where they all one lead into the other. Fourth commandment, thou shalt face each problem as it comes. You can only handle one at a time anyway. That's one of the best things that Annie Albright taught me, is that when I am feeling out of control and feeling full of worry, it's because I'm lumping in all these things in one thing. And that's one thing about all the issues in your life, is when you think about them in one giant thought, okay, that it compounds and it multiplies. It's got this multiplying effect where it's like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do. After these 10 things I'm worrying about. Andy has this great ability of, well, let's just knock them down one by one. What are your top 3 that you're worried about? And when it comes down to it, out of the 10 things, really it comes down to the top 1, 2, or 3. There's not more than 3 things that you are probably fearful about, okay? Really, the top 1, 2, or 3 are probably 80% of the things that are really eating at you. And when you start lumping them all together, that's what makes it this burden that is unbearable. But when you can handle them each separately, and he said, well, just let's talk about one by one. And I start laying out one by one. He goes, let me tell you how you can take care of that one. And he says, blah, blah, blah. I write it down. It's like, oh, okay. Because what's your next one? Well, it's this. Okay. Dude, come on, man. That ain't no big deal. This is how you handle that. You know, by the time I'm done with 1 and 2, I'm going, oh, wow. A big burden is lifted off my shoulders. See, when you can break each problem down on its own and dealing with it just as it is by itself, it's not a big deal. But when you start looking at it as a gang of wolves around you, okay, so you got to think about it like a kung fu movie. In a kung fu movie, you've got Bruce Lee and he's got all the enemy around him. They all attack him one at a time. So that's how he's able to defeat them all one at a time. They don't all rush him at the same time. So think about it like a kung fu movie, man. You know what I'm saying? All right. Number 5, 5th commandment, thou shalt not take problems to bed with you, for they make very poor bedfellows. Man, clear your mind before you kneel in prayer. That's what I think. Prayer has a way of helping you put your day and all your problems in perspective so that you can go to bed, not taking it to bed with you, because you know how that is. You can't go to sleep because you're thinking about it all the time. You all know how stress will affect you and it will affect your sleep. Man, when you put yourself in rest in God's bosom after prayer, I promise you prayer will help. Morning, evening prayer, like when your parents took you and got you on your knees and you said your prayers as a little kid. Man, I remember that. We did that to our children. The 6th commandment, thou shalt not borrow other people's problems. They can better care for them than you can. Oh my gosh. How many of you all have done that? There's only so much you can do about someone else's problem. And it's probably a lot of this applies to your children, people close to you. Man, when you raise your kid, you just pray to God you did everything you could for them, that they make the right decisions on their own, but there's only so much you as a parent can do because you know that they're not going to listen to you. This is particularly true of parents that have children that are undergoing addiction issues. I know many of them that have to deal with that, or a parent whose child committed suicide because of the issues. At a certain point, there's only so much you can do. And you want to control their world, but you can't. There's a point where you can't, as much as you try. I'm not here to give that kind of advice, but what I am asking you is you got to distance yourself, especially other people that dump their stuff on you. Man, just pray for them and don't try to solve it for them, because a lot of times there's nothing you can do. Don't put that burden on yourself to solve other people's issues. You know what I'm saying? There are professionals for that. Leave them to the people that can help them with that. You are not the marriage counselor. You are not the addiction counselor. You are not, unless you are licensed, then what are you doing selling insurance? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, the seventh commandment, thou shalt not try to relive yesterday for good or ill. It is forever gone. Concentrate on what is happening in your life and be happy now. That's why they say present. Today is a present, right? You can't go back and live former glory, nor can you go back and live former sorrow. It's not productive, right? And going back to former glory, the best thing to think about that is, I used to kick some freaking butt. I can continue to kick butt, and I will continue to kick butt. What counts is what you do today. What counts is what you do today. Today is the present that God gave you. Eighth commandment, thou shalt be a good listener, for only when you listen do you hear different ideas from your own. It's hard to learn something new when you are talking and other people do know some things that you do not know, right? You ever get in that situation where you're arguing with something and you're not listening to the person's arguing, you're only listening to respond because you already know what you're going to say. You're not listening to what they're saying. You're just waiting them to be done talking so you can say what you're going to say, right? That's one of our 8 steps to success, being a good listener, listening to people where in life you want to be, and being careful who you listen to. We already talked about that before, being careful who you listen to, right? You can learn from everyone, okay? You can learn from everyone, both good and for bad. Negative examples, right? The 9th commandment, thou shalt not become bogged down by frustration, for 90% of it is rooted in self-pity and will only interfere with positive actions. Man, bogged down is truly, it's like a swamp. It's like a quicksand. The quicksand of self-pity. Woe is me. See, the woe is me comes from feeling like you're not in control of what you can do about your situation. You get into self-pity mode. You start thinking, oh, I can't. You can get out of that thinking, right? You need to talk to other people that can help you get out of where you're stuck. And that's the only way you can do it. Quicksand, you can't get out on your own. Someone's got to throw you a rope, right? That's what that self-pity is, man. Pity party situation. Then the 10th commandment, and 12 o'clock. Thou shalt count thy blessings, never overlooking the small ones, for a lot of small blessings add up to a big one. I have done this multiple times. When I think about perspective on the good stuff happening in my life, because God has blessed me every day and has blessed me with great children, with a wife that loves me, right? With all of you. With all of you. I mean, I've been so blessed by all of you. I count it as a privilege to be able to help you and to mentor you and to lead you down a path that I think will be awesome for all of us. I can't be more excited ever than I've been right now, right? Think about your blessings. It sounds so trite and so tired, but it is a powerful thing when you think about all the positives in your life that God has blessed you with. One of my agents went blind last year. Dave went blind last year. He couldn't control it. And I've kind of lost him because he was supposed to meet with me and he didn't make it. And I'm fearful for him, right? But you have your sight because you're on this call. You can see. You can hear. You got you got a pair of hands, you got a phone, you can get on the phone. You are blessed with so many things to be successful compared to other people that can't. You have the ability to read your way out of your problems. But if you decide not to read, you're no better than someone who cannot read at all. Do you realize that? You're no better than an illiterate person because you don't read. An illiterate person can't read. You decide not to read, and you are blessed with this powerful opportunity to be able to read the books that can help you think your way and feel your way and to act your way out of your current situation. We've got a ton of books that we can recommend, right? And getting around the people that can help you, starting with me, starting with our system, starting with Andy Albright. We're here to help you, man. So anyway, that is it. This was all unscripted. Man, I was just out of my heart. So man, I love you guys. I really want to see you succeed. There's so many great things we're doing, so many great things, right? So take advantage of them. So what are you going to do? What is your why? Tell me that you change your attitude. Attitude is a decision. I decide to have a positive attitude right now. Then what am I going to do to take action? You need leads? Talk to Jenny. Talk to me. Need to get on the phone? Let's put a game plan together. How many dollars are you going to make? Gang, it's a very simple process. So rock on, everybody. Love y'all. Let's do this thing. Let's get on leaderboard next week. Show me that I made a difference. Okay. God bless, man. Take care.